What's going on, beautiful people? This is the Perspective Chasers podcast, and I'm your host, John. On this episode, I want to talk about brain fog, primarily because I'm going through it at the minute and trying to get myself to be back on track and start to be productive again. I'm really struggling to put together a coherent thought. And this ain't the first time this happened. This happens every now and then. Every time I run myself into the ground, anytime I'm stretched too thin, or I lose sight of the end goal, or that there is an end to the goal. And I think everybody gets brain fog at one point or another. And it's one of those things where the more you deal with it, the more you learn tactics to kind of work around it and everything else. Even now, just kind of working with what I've got and running with it and just seeing where it goes. It might not lead anywhere, but at least it got me out of that stalemate. And sometimes when you don't see a path forward, sometimes that's all you have to do is just walk anyway. Just push through the fog, and eventually you'll stumble onto something where you can make sense of it and things do line up, and it's not going to be everlasting, the brain fog. It will go. Sometimes you just need that time off. Sometimes your brain is literally burnt out. Sometimes you're burnt out. Sometimes you need the rest. Or sometimes there's something you need to address. Regardless, there's normally a reason. For most things in life, there is a reason. But it's down to us to have the self-awareness to address it and to learn how to manage ourselves. I mean, I know what would have happened to myself if I'd have kept on sitting there with the brain fog. I would have potentially missed my target, or been rushed around in the morning in order to hit my target to upload things and keep everything on track. Or if I didn't, I'd have been incredibly disappointed in myself and I'd have snowballed even further. So if I'd have stayed like a deer in headlights, things would have only got worse. That feeling of being lost in the fog and being lost at sea would have just got worse. So sometimes you've just got to take action, regardless of whether it's the thing that you know you got to do or not. If you've got no other options, sometimes any options will do. And then you go from there. But at least it got you out from the stalemate. It got you out from the fog. And even now, while I start it started small. I started editing again and kind of dipping my toe in there, going through things, seeing if my brain would switch on, and it didn't. So then I ended up sitting in front of the camera, all mic'd up, and it still didn't come. It weren't until I decided to work with what I've got that thoughts started flowing. It weren't until I was like, right, well, look, if you're going through brain fog, if you can't string together a coherent idea, talk about that, because you're not the only one that can't string together an idea 100% of the time. Like, for so many people, it's probably a stumbling block that they're not 100% on it 100% of the time. But I don't think anybody is. Everybody needs that rest. Everybody needs to take it easy now and then. Everyone needs their way of switching off. And for some people, they get that more frequently than others. Other people don't get it at all. But such is life. Everyone's playing a different game. So it's just understanding and being realistic when you're in that fog, understanding where you are, what's potentially causing the fog, and how you potentially get through it. Again, you don't have to necessarily know the way through to get through it. All you have to do is have a little faith that there is a way through and start making moves. Don't freeze like a deer in headlights. Take some action. Do something that is going to get you out of that rut, even if it's not the thing that works, even if it's not the straw that breaks the camel's back. It could be something that triggers the next fall. Even if this episode here doesn't work because of the brain fog and everything else, it's fine. Hopefully sitting down and actually talking for however long and trying to string together something coherent might put together another episode where I can talk coherently and get things more on track, and something that I'm far happier with. But that's not going to come without this. So regardless, I've got to push through it. Regardless of how foggy my mind feels or anything, it happens. It's life. I'm not going to freeze. I'm going to push through it and find a way to work around it. If it don't work, it don't work. But at least I kept moving. The kind of be all and end all of it is that, yes, I needed to kind of push through the fog, but more than anything, I just needed to do something. Doing something started that ball rolling to the point where it slowly starts to clear, having some kind of direction again. Understanding that it doesn't matter if I don't know exactly where I'm going or exactly what I'm going to say or exactly what I'm going to do. I know the direction I want to go. I know how I want to deliver things, how I want to do things. So that's enough to move and stop standing still. You're never going to get anywhere unless you start moving. So start moving. It's really, there's probably 100 people or more that would tell you to take some supplement or do this or do that. There's probably meditations out there that I could do and loads of ways to kind of center myself and clear the fog. But for me, pushing through it works best. Realistically, I don't have time to wait for something else to work. Most of the time my back's against the wall, so I push forward. It's all I can do. And for a lot of people, that is the case. Most people live their lives with their backs up against the wall for the most part. And the only way they're ever going to get anywhere is if they push through it. Some people do, some people don't. But it's down to you to decide which you are. Are you the type that freezes in the headlights, or are you the type that moves it and gets out of the way? Because I know which one I want to be and which one I hope I am. So ask yourself, which one are you? I don't know what else I can say about brain fog. As I said, it's currently hitting me right now, so stringing together thoughts ain't the easiest, but doing this has helped. I feel better regardless of whether I post this episode or not. I feel better after sitting here and actually trying to string something together and putting in the effort, and even just vocalizing the brain fog. And I was talking about it with my mate briefly, but even that, it doesn't clear it. Do you know what I mean? Only pushing through it, because nobody's gonna 100% understand where you're coming from or what you're going through. So to get through it, sometimes you've just got to push through it on your own. Or I don't want to advocate for shutting people out, because that's not the case. It's good to have people close to you and everything else, but it's only you that can walk through the door. So that as much as you can talk about things with people and everything else, and it is good to talk about things with people, inevitably it's you that has to walk through the door. It's you that has to take that action. So I could have spoke to my mate for God knows how long, but it would never have pushed me through that fog. Only I can push me through that fog by going through the things that I know I need to do or I want to do in order to progress further in life or get closer to what I want to get to. So realistically, I think that's better than any medication. Especially anything you can get over the counter is. Pushing through is going to be far better for you, and you'll learn far more through it than giving up or freezing and not taking any action, or just medicating yourself every time you get a bit of brain fog. It's natural, it's okay to feel lost now and then. That's a sign that you're not being true to yourself in a way, that you're off track, and that's okay. We all lose track sometimes. Just get back on, it's fine. That's your body's way of saying, look, you're kind of abusing us, or you're not paying attention to something, this, that, or whatever. Like, your body tries to communicate with you, your mind communicates with you. Like, there's so much to being alive, to being a human, that we're disassociated from so many aspects of that. So the more in tune you become with yourself, and the more you understand your own behaviours, your own characteristics, the more you'll be able to coach yourself through and understand why you are the way you are in certain situations, or why you handle things the way you do. For example, I know normally after a couple of days of brain fog, I bounce back and it's fine. But this is stuck around for a good week or so, and it's more than just the usual fog. So that there's more to it, and I'll get there. But I know that I'm pushing through it, and I know that I'm taking steps in order to get through it. So that action in itself helps to ease the fog. It helps to ease the mental frustration. So I'm going to end the episode there. But if there's anything that I can give you as a seed for this episode, it's pay attention to the little things. Like, if you're getting brain fog, if you're getting anxious, if you're getting stressed, there is a cause. And there is something you can do about that. There's something that requires your attention. And once you give it the attention it requires, you'll more than likely get through it. All the best, and I'll catch you on the next one.